Hi everyone. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about resentment, and there are a lot of pieces that connect to this. How we feel versus how we take responsibility for how we feel, and versus how we are compassionate towards ourselves as well as others, even if we feel like they've hurt us, how to handle navigate this whole situation. So I'm going to talk about an example of a group that I was a part of about maybe 6 years ago. I went hiking to Grand Canyon, and there were five of us girls that were hiking in Grand Canyon that time. We were all five Indian girls, and the four of them spoke this language called Telugu, which I don't know. I don't know it. They didn't speak Hindi, which I speak, and so we were all talking in English. I mean, the expectation was that we would talk in English, and my relationship with them on an individual level, with most of them, was very good. With some of them was kind of indifferent, but with most of them was very good on an individual level. But in the group, when they were all together, there were four of them, which kind of makes sense. I mean, they would start to speak in Telugu a lot. But we were on a trip, and the whole trip basically they were speaking in Telugu, even when they were discussing logistics, which I needed to know, right? Like that, it got very frustrating to me because they're talking about, okay, let's do this first, and then this first, and then this first, and I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking about, and I have no idea what the discussion was. I am not a part of the discussion. I'm not a part of the results. I don't know what it is, and then I have to ask somebody. So, and my emotions, I have always been this, not had always been this very highly emotional person. So if I spoke, I would speak from a place of reactivity rather than a place of calm. I was just upset, and I was getting more and more upset rather than like being able to say, hey guys, speak in English please. That way, because I was feeling very excluded. And this has been my biggest fear, is the fear of abandonment. This has been my biggest trauma. Trauma as in like from past lives also, biggest anartha I call it, which includes past life traumas, not just or fears or whatever, insecurities, all the negative things, as opposed to just childhood traumas from this. So anartha. So yeah, fear of abandonment has been my biggest thing, and it just triggers me like in a big way. So, and I didn't have this clarity of understanding that I have now. Anyways, so I ended up leaving the group after the hike was over. I just got very triggered. I sent a very calm message, but my energy was not calm at all. And I just left the group. I was like, I don't feel included. I don't feel like you want me there. I don't feel like you want me to be a part of the group, because if you did, you would speak in English. The fact that you're speaking in Telugu, which I don't know, this makes it clear that you don't want me to be a part of the group. I'm a pain for you. I'm a pest for you. So I left. So my understanding now of resentment. So I'm going to just use this example only. So I started to feel very resentful of the person, of the people, and so now I'm trying to break that down. I've had a situation now which I can use this example to explain through. What is resentment? Resentment is when I am feeling that I need something and I am holding somebody else responsible for giving it to me. So I need to be loved, and I'm holding somebody else responsible for it. I need to feel like I belong, and I'm holding somebody else responsible for it. I need something from somebody. That's expectations, which people say that, of course, expectations are normal in a relationship. And yes, but the goal is to work past them, right? And when we start to do this kind of work, this personal growth work, this spiritual growth work, removing our anathas, then we start to understand that it's possible, much more accessible for us to live a life without expectations than we think is possible for us. So yes, I mean, I've cut down on a whole ton of expectations, and there are still some triggers that come up because some of these anarthas are very, very, very strong wired in me, which I understand. So I accept that about myself, that this is this is where I'm at, right? Okay, so then, so the resentment is, if a situation like this is happening, my so I'm not talking about so there's two parts of it, right? The intellect, like I've talked about. I'm going to keep drilling this into you. There are two parts to anything. One is the intellect and the discernment. You use your brain to figure out what is the right thing, what is going on, what is the situation. You're not walking around dumb. but you're assessing the situation, you're understanding. The second part is judgment or ego, and that's where the resentment comes from. The resentment comes from the ego, which is saying you should be giving this to me, and if you're not giving this to me, then you are a bad person. I am a better person than you. You are a bad person, and you're hurting me, like as if another person has the capacity to hurt. They do, because we are not strong. We're not strong in our relationship with God. So that resentment is so the discernment is there. They are speaking in Telugu, and they are not even though there's been conversation about please speak in English, they are not able to switch to English. Right? They want to speak in Telugu. So the discernment, the intellect is saying, yes, this group is not the right group for me, and I can leave. The second part is the resentment. The resentment, which leads to anger, that is the part of where I am trying to control them, and I'm saying you should be speaking in English, otherwise you are a bad person. This is the me giving responsibility to them. So they have their side of the road, right? Whatever they're doing, they're going to face the consequences of that. In this case, it's a simple, I'm not talking about the karma consequences which Krishna is going to give them. That's different. But in this case, the consequence is that I'm going to leave. I'm going to express that I want to be able to. At that time, I wasn't able to express in a very kind, calm way, but now I'm going to be able. I'm going to express, like, yeah, this is what I need, and if the person isn't able to give me, then the consequence is that I leave, because I'm seeing clearly that the person does not want me around. Like, even if they're doing it out of habit or whatever, the fact is subconsciously they would prefer that I'm not there, because they would prefer to talk in their own language, which I don't understand. So I will just be like, okay, I will leave. I will give you your space. You can talk in your language with this person, and that's fine. So that is the intellect part, but the judgment part is when I'm saying you are a bad person, I am feeling hurt, you are hurting me, as if somehow it's got anything to do with me. It doesn't have anything to do with me. It has everything to do with them. It has absolutely nothing to do with me. Now I can think, yeah, if it was someone else, if it was Bill Gates, they wouldn't be speaking in this. They would be speaking in English because they respect the person and they don't respect me. Okay, fine. Even if they don't respect me, or even if they don't like me, or whatever, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect my worthiness. That's the crux of it. It doesn't affect my lovability or my worthiness just because somebody is saying I'm not worthy. I don't need them to tell me that I'm worthy in order to be worthy. I don't need them to tell me that I'm lovable in order to be lovable. This is where God comes in. I am a child of God. I am absolutely crazy lovable, and if I open myself to receive it, if I just literally open myself up to receive it, there is torrents of love that I will be able to feel, and it's not that far away. Literally, it is not that far away. We think that it's just the state of enlightenment or whatever is like light years away or lifetimes away or whatever. It really isn't. It doesn't have to be. I can feel that it's just around the corner. All we need to have is the hunger for it. All we need to have is this deep desire. God, please help me feel. Please help me seek shelter from you. Please help me seek love from you. My prayer constantly all day long is Krishna. I say Krishna instead of God, but you can say whatever. Is Krishna, please help me seek shelter and love from you instead of seeking shelter and love from this person. Like in in the language situation, these 4 girls, please help me seek shelter from you instead of seeking shelter and love from you instead of seeking shelter and love from these 4 girls. Right? That's it. So we do this non-stop, all day meditation, like all day just constantly thinking that. The moment we start to think, oh, this person, I want this person to like me, or oh, this person said this to me, we can immediately say this prayer. We can get into the habit of immediately saying this prayer and say it with as much emotion as possible. Krishna, please, I humbly request you to please remove all of my anarthas and please remove all of my insecurities so that I can feel, and please give me humility so that I can feel your love, your downpouring of love, torrential outpouring and downpouring of love, so that I can be in a position where I can give to them, because they're also seeking shelter and love. And if they're doing things like this, that's because they're afraid on some level, they're insecure. And so they're thinking that if I talk to somebody in my language, then I will be able to have that person's love on a deeper level. So they're not able to, so they're insecure. So when I get this thing, then I can give them that love and shelter. So I want to, like, our idea is to pray. Our goal is to pray that our level is elevated so that we can feel the love from God, so that we can give love to these people, to other people, instead of expecting love from them. That's the crux of it. So so that's one thing. And now there are other things, like if I want to communicate with a person that this is hurting me, or that this is going to be the consequence. If you continue to do this, this is going to be the consequence, because I don't want to waste my time. That's one of the things. So get to a place where you can practice speaking to the person calmly in front of the mirror, and take a few days if you have to, but practice so that you can say it calmly, even if you're feeling very reactive. Just keep breathing deeply and practice saying it calmly. That's one thing. I've got my notes here because I knew that I would forget. Okay. And then another thing is that see if that expression can be done by somebody else. So if you're going to use this language example, see if there is somebody you can talk to who will tell them, like, if I feel that I'm going to be too reactive and I'm not going to be able to say it, and I'm not going to be able to say it calmly, or the practicing is not helping, then see if you can find somebody who can tell them not let them know, like, if if B is doing something, if B is, let's say, speaking in Telugu to A all the time, then I can ask A to tell B to speak in English for my sakes, not telling B that I'm the one who complained about it, talked about it, or requested this, but telling just A can just simply say to B, hey, I think it would be better, because A is not emotionally involved in this. So it's not going to hurt B when A says it, because it's not a personal thing and A is not emotionally involved. There's going to be no emotional charge. So the problem might be resolved in that way without hurting B, and without creating a big thing if the emotions are running high, if I'm not able to calm myself down. So that's one thing. And then another thing is, like, understand that this is probably being done, almost certainly being done by God for me. Things are happening for me, not to me. Now, this is a very cliched statement. We've heard it a million times. So what does it really mean? It may mean, like, so using this example, it may mean that God doesn't want me to, either be a part of this group, because this group, maybe, like, at that time I was hiking a lot with this group, and that was great. It was amazing for me to be hiking so much, and then the group disappeared. So maybe God wanted me to get that experience of hiking and going to Grand Canyon, but he didn't want me to be a part of this group. And now I understand why. A few years later, 5 or 6 years later, it makes sense to me, because that group was not right for me. If I had stayed there, I would have probably been held back a little bit, because the association you keep matters. So I would not have been able to go as fast in the path that I have gone, potentially, probably, if I had stayed with that group. Now, my triggers are there. Like, I feel like I cannot belong anywhere, or whatever. My abandonment wounds got kicked up many, many times. That time as well as afterwards, many, many times. But every time somebody got left behind, it did. Like, I mean, I know people say that if you keep making the same mistake, it's insanity or whatever, but I don't know. I feel that it's really helped me. I feel that it's really helped me, because every situation was a little bit different, and now I am a part of a group right now, and I started going after a girls group. I started going after this girl, thinking that she's somebody I want to be friends with. I had one conversation with her. I was very happy at the end of the conversation. Oh, look, she liked me. And then like 6 or 7 minutes after that conversation was over, after we hung up, after the initial euphoria, like, oh, look, she liked me and we can be friends, I realized that she's not right for me, based on all of these experiences that I've had. I realized, and I let go. I completely let go. And I mean, I found other people in the group who are not as charming, and as polished and whatever, but they're much deeper friends. Like they've become much deeper friends. People who are much, much, much younger than me, but really old souls, like really wise, mature women who really loving. So I have shifted, and it took me all of those experiences. It took me all of those lessons. That's fine. You fail again until you get your lesson. So maybe this is another one of those things. You don't know. I'm not saying that this is, but it might be. If it doesn't work out, if I'm able to express either myself directly or through a friend, that this thing, like, and it doesn't work out, then that's okay. I can be okay, because I know that I am getting love and shelter from God. God loves me, irrespective of whether anybody loves me. God loves me, and when I can feel that, when I can truly feel that, then I will be able to be okay with all of this stuff completely. And then I will be able to use my intellect and say, okay, she doesn't want me around because of the language thing. I can see that, so I'm just going to give her the space, and I'm going to it's not that I'm going to walk away in a big dramatic way that I'm never talking to you again. It's just I'm going to flow away. I'm going to just gently flow away. I'll be like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. And then tomorrow I'll say hi, and I'll be like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow again. And then like, tomorrow I'll be like, hi, bye. That way, just like not this big dramatic, like I am breaking up with you. Like I left that group in a big dramatic way. I was like, I cannot handle you guys. You guys suck. You guys don't have the basic etiquette. You guys don't have. I did that. I was very, very triggered at that time. Okay, so that's one thing. So it's being done for me. God is protecting me. Maybe he's protecting me from not having those conversations. Maybe he's protecting me because I am on a very fast growth path, and he wants me to be surrounded. Now that's another thing. What do you want from your life? What do you desire? Be very careful about what you wish for, because you may get what you wish for. Do you want to belong in this group, or do you want to belong in a group where you are going at the path, at the rate, at the pace that you want to go on, right? So be very careful. What do you underlyingly want? Like, I want to build a relationship with God. That's my fundamental goal. So I want to be around people who are as desperate as I am to build a relationship with God. Whatever your thing is, like if you want to have, if you want to run a business, then you want to be around people who want as desperately as you want to run a business, or who are there. You want to surround yourself with that. And if that doesn't work with one person, that's okay. You can find somebody else who does. The thing is, just because it doesn't work with one person or two people or 10 people or 20 people or 50 people or 100 people doesn't mean that you are not lovable. You are fundamentally lovable, and you will find people that you resonate with. Okay, yeah, that's it for this video. I spoke a lot, but this step-by-step understanding of how to handle resentment towards somebody else was very, very helpful for me. I hope it helps you as well, and wish you a day filled with completely resentment-free day. Radhe Radhe.